My name is Emma Carter. For 27 years, I believed my childhood home belonged to my family. It was a beautiful old house outside Boston. White wooden walls. A wide front porch. A huge maple tree my father planted when I was 6. And memories everywhere. My mother taught me to ride a bicycle in that driveway. My father built my first bookshelf in the garage. When my parents died, that house was the only thing I had left. Or so I thought. After my mother's funeral, my older brother Jason told me not to worry about the house. Emma, I'll handle everything. I trusted him. He was my older brother. The person who had always acted like the responsible one. So when he asked me to sign some papers, I didn't question him. You need to sign these for the estate. I signed. Then I moved to Chicago for work. 3 years passed. I visited Boston occasionally, but every time I asked Jason about the house, he said, "It's being maintained. It's expensive to keep. Don't worry, it's still ours." Then one Friday afternoon, I received a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. A man's voice said, "Is this Emma Carter?" "Yes. My name is Daniel Reed. How can I help you?" He paused. "I'm standing inside your childhood home." My heart stopped. "What?" "I recently purchased the property." I couldn't breathe. "You bought my house?" "Yes." "From whom?" He hesitated. "Jason Carter." I stood up so quickly my chair fell backward. "Jason sold it." "Apparently." "That house wasn't his to sell." Daniel became quiet. "That's why I'm calling you." "Why?" "Because the title documents don't make sense." My hands started shaking. "What do you mean?" He said, "Your name is still on the original deed." I flew back to Boston that night. Jason met me outside the house. He looked nervous. "What happened?" "You sold Mom and Dad's house." He sighed. "Emma, I was going to tell you." "When?" "When everything was finalized." "How could you sell it without me?" He looked away. "You signed the estate documents." "I signed documents you told me were for estate administration." He became angry. "Don't make this difficult." I stared at him. "Where's the money?" Silence. "Jason." He finally said, "It's gone." "How much?" He whispered, $1.8 million. My heart dropped. "You stole our parents' inheritance." "No. You sold my house." "I had a right to it." "No." I looked at him. "You had a brother's trust. You abused it." Then I walked away. But Daniel was waiting nearby. He handed me a folder. "There's something else." I opened it. Inside was the original deed. My father's signature. My mother's signature. And beneath them, Emma Carter, 50% ownership. I looked at Daniel. "What's the other 50%? He pointed to another name. Jason Carter, 50%. Then he turned to the final page. There was a handwritten note from my father. "Neither child may sell, transfer, or mortgage the property without the written consent of the other." I stared at the words. Jason had sold the house illegally. But that wasn't all. Daniel pointed to another document. "The sale contract says your brother received $1.8 million. I looked at him. "Then where did the money go?" He lowered his voice. "That's what I'm trying to find out." The next morning, I went to a lawyer. Her name was Rachel Morgan. After reviewing the documents, she looked at me. "Emma, your brother made a serious mistake. Can I get the house back?" "Possibly." "Possibly." She nodded. "The buyer may have legal rights." "Daniel." "Yes." But he didn't know. "Exactly." Rachel explained that Daniel had purchased the house in good faith. If he had no knowledge of the fraud, he wasn't my enemy. Jason was. Then Rachel found something strange. "There's a second bank account." "What?" "Your parents had an estate account." "I never knew." She showed me the records. Before my mother's death, the account contained $2.4 million. After her death, Jason withdrew nearly everything. I stared at the transactions. $400,000, $250,000, $700,000, and then $900,000 transferred to a company called Carter Holdings LLC. I recognized the name. Jason's company. He didn't just steal the house. Rachel nodded. He stole almost the entire family estate. I confronted Jason. He became furious. You had no right to investigate my finances. I had every right. You're trying to destroy me. You destroyed yourself. He stepped closer. You don't understand what happened. Then explain it. He looked at the floor. Our parents left debts. What debts? Business debts. Then show me. He didn't. Instead, he said, Mom wanted me to have everything. I stared at him. That's a lie. You weren't here. I was her daughter. And I was the son who stayed. His words hurt. But I remembered something. My mother had once told me, never let Jason convince you that being older makes him more important. I suddenly understood. My mother knew. She had known Jason was capable of this. That evening, Daniel called me. Emma, you need to come to the house. Why? I found something. When I arrived, he took me to the attic. Behind an old wooden panel, there was a locked box. Inside were letters. Dozens of them. All written by my mother. The final letter was dated 2 days before she died. It began, Emma, if you're reading this, Jason has probably told you that I wanted him to manage everything. I froze. Then I continued. That's not true. My eyes filled with tears. I know Jason has been taking money from the family business. Your father discovered it before he died. I believe Jason will try to sell the house after I'm gone. I covered my mouth. My mother had predicted everything. Then came the final sentence. If he sells the house, look beneath the maple tree. Daniel and I went outside. The maple tree was still there. We dug beneath it. After 20 minutes, the shovel hit metal. We uncovered a small steel box. Inside was a USB drive and a handwritten note. The truth is on this drive. I plugged it into my laptop. There was one video. My mother appeared on screen. She looked tired, but determined. Emma. I started crying. If you're watching this, I didn't have enough time. She took a breath. Jason believes he is stealing from you. But he's wrong. He's stealing from someone much more dangerous. The screen went black. Then another video appeared. A man was sitting in an office. I recognized him immediately. My father's former business partner. And he was talking to Jason. The audio was clear. Jason said, once Emma leaves Boston, we can move everything. The man replied, and the house? Jason smiled. She'll never know. I stared at the screen. But then the man said something that made my blood run cold. What about your mother? Jason answered. She won't be around long enough to stop us. I stopped breathing. My mother hadn't died naturally. And now, I had proof. I watched the video again. And again. Jason's voice was unmistakable. My mother had suspected something. My father had discovered something. And Jason had been involved. But I needed more than one video. I needed the truth. Rachel contacted investigators. They examined the recording. Then they found financial records connecting Jason to his father's former business partner. Millions had been moved. But there was one payment that shocked everyone. $150,000. Paid to a private medical consultant. 2 weeks before my mother's death. Rachel looked at me. Emma. What? This doctor signed your mother's death certificate. I froze. Can we find him? He disappeared. Then Daniel called. I found something in the basement. We went downstairs. Behind an old furnace, there was another hidden compartment. Inside was a file. My father's handwriting was on the cover. Project Maple. I opened it. It contained business records, bank statements, photographs, and a letter. My father had discovered that Jason was secretly working with his former business partner. They were trying to take control of the family company. But my father had created a protection plan. He transferred 60% of the company into my name. I stared at the document. My brother hadn't stolen from an ordinary family. He had been trying to steal a multimillion-dollar company from me. Then I found the most shocking document. A life insurance policy. My father's name. Beneficiary. Emma Carter. Amount. $4 million. But someone had changed the beneficiary after his death. The signature looked like mine. Except, it wasn't mine. Rachel examined it. This is a forgery. Everything suddenly connected. Jason had forged my signature. He had stolen the inheritance. He had sold the house. And he had been working with someone else. But who? Then Daniel remembered the man from the video. Your father's former partner. His name was Richard Blake. Richard had disappeared after my father's death. But now, he was back. That night, I received a message. Unknown number. Stop investigating. Another message appeared. You don't know what your parents discovered. Then, meet me at the old warehouse. I told Rachel. She said not to go. But I had a plan. I wouldn't go alone. Investigators would be nearby. Daniel would be watching. And I would wear a hidden recording device. At midnight, I entered the warehouse. Richard was waiting. He looked older than I remembered. You look like your mother. I said nothing. Jason told me you wouldn't find the documents. Jason was wrong. Richard smiled. Your mother was stubborn too. What did you do to her? His smile disappeared. I never touched her. Then who did? He looked at me. Your brother. I already knew. But I needed him to say it. Why? Because your mother found the accounts. What accounts? Money your father had hidden. Why? Richard stepped closer. Because your father wasn't running a normal business. What does that mean? Your father discovered someone was laundering money through the company. Who? Richard smiled. The person you trust most. I froze. Who? He didn't answer. Instead, the warehouse lights turned on. Jason stepped into the room. He looked at me. Hello, Emma. Jason walked toward me. You should have stayed in Chicago. I stared at him. You killed Mom. He shook his head. I didn't kill her. You planned it. I wanted the company. That's the same thing. He laughed. You always were dramatic. I felt something inside me break. All those years, I had defended him, loved him, trusted him, and he had been using me. Where's the money? Safe. Where? Somewhere you'll never find. I smiled. He frowned. What? You really think I came here without a plan? His expression changed. The investigators entered. Richard tried to run. He was arrested. Jason froze. Then Rachel walked in. She held up the original documents. The house sale is invalid. Jason stared at me. You set me up. No. I looked directly at him. You set yourself up. The evidence was overwhelming. The forged signatures. The stolen money. The illegal house sale. The secret company. The recordings. The payments to the medical consultant. And the confession Richard had given us. But there was still one question. Who had poisoned my mother? Investigators found the doctor. He confessed. Jason had paid him. He had changed my mother's medication. He had made her death look natural. I couldn't stop crying. My mother had known. She had tried to protect me. And I hadn't been there. Jason was arrested. Richard was arrested. The doctor was arrested. The money was frozen. The house sale was cancelled. And Daniel became the legal owner of nothing. Because he voluntarily returned the property to the estate. I asked him why. He said, "Because your parents built this home for their children. But you paid for it. Then let the money be handled legally." 6 months later, the court ruled in my favor. The house was returned to me. The family company was returned to my control. More than $5 million was recovered. Jason lost everything. But I wasn't satisfied. Not yet. Because I still had one final thing to do. I called a family meeting. Everyone came. My aunt. My cousins. People who had believed Jason's lies. I stood in the living room of my childhood home. The same room where my mother used to decorate the Christmas tree. I placed the evidence on the table. Then I said, "This house was never just a house. It's where Mom and Dad built our family." And Jason tried to turn their memories into money. My aunt began crying. My cousin apologized. But I didn't want apologies. I wanted the truth. And now, everyone knew it. 1 year later, the house was completely restored. I kept my mother's kitchen exactly the same. I kept my father's workshop. I kept the old maple tree. But I changed one thing. I turned the empty basement into a small office. Carter Family Foundation. I used part of the recovered money to help families facing financial hardship. Because I understood what it meant to lose everything. Jason eventually wrote me a letter from prison. "Emma, I don't expect forgiveness. I know what I did was unforgivable. I only want you to know that I'm sorry." I read the letter once. Then put it away. I didn't forgive him. Not yet. Maybe never. But I no longer hated him. Because hatred meant he still had power over me. And I had already taken that power back. Daniel visited the house one afternoon. He stood on the porch. "This place looks beautiful." It always was. He smiled. "I owe you an apology. You didn't steal the house. But I bought it without knowing the truth. You returned it." He nodded. Then he handed me an envelope. Inside was the original purchase money. $1.8 million. I looked at him. "I can't take this." "You can." "Why?" "Because I bought a house that wasn't really for sale." He smiled. "Your parents built it for you." That evening, I sat beneath the maple tree. The same tree where my mother had hidden the truth. I opened the final letter she had written to me. There was one sentence I had never noticed. "Emma, if they ever make you feel like you have nothing, remember where you came from." I looked at the house, the porch, the windows, the tree, the memories, and I finally understood. My family thought they could steal my home. They thought they could steal my inheritance. They thought they could erase my parents' legacy. They were wrong. They didn't understand something. A home isn't just walls. It's memories. It's love. It's the people who believed in you before the world knew your name. And sometimes, the greatest revenge isn't destroying the people who hurt you. It's rebuilding everything they tried to take. I looked at the house one last time. Then smiled. "Mom, Dad. I'm home." And for the first time in years, I truly felt like I was